Alrighty, welcome to today's recap. It is Monday. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group with the end of day recap. And yeah, not much really going on today. Kind of a snoozer for the overall indices. We kind of pick up where we left off last week. We had on Friday, a quick move up out of the sideways range that we were in for basically the whole week, and we kind of opened up. I like the fact that we're above value, which I'm just going to take off a couple indicators here so that this is a little bit less complicated. And you can see that we are above value for the week in S&P. So that's a good sign. I like the fact when we start the week above value. However, we just didn't do anything, and it could just be, a little bit of I don't know, French party hangover. So definitely a sell the news events. Those markets were up so large yesterday. Some of them were up between 5 to 10%. They came back today, 1%, and I think that was exactly what we talked about this weekend, and we talked about on Friday. It's why I took off the majority of my European trades towards the end of last week. So that's S&P where we stand. Nasdaq is also above value for the week. Again, a little bit different than we were last week. What underperformed today was small caps, and I'll talk about biotech in a minute. But so I don't like to sell iron condors when we start when we start the week above value, which is where we are in S&P, even though we didn't do anything today. But I did put on one in small caps. Why did I do that in small caps? Or look at small cap futures or IWM, because we started right in the middle of the value area. So I sold a few call spreads above the value area and below, collecting some premium in there. Again, very similar to how we started the week last week in S&P. So I'll have to adjust that trade if we break one of these barriers up or down. But that was a great trade last week to sell the Iron Condor in the beginning of the week for S&P. Besides the major indices, which really didn't move too much, besides small caps a bit today, biotech really got shelled, and it looks like there's a seller there, a pretty decent seller. There was some decent outflows both in IBB and XBI towards the end of last week. I think they're still present. Are they done? I have no idea, but there's definitely some added volume you could see, all through the day. This is very typical of a somebody putting a big sell order in a machine. You have a first hour or so of the day heavy volume, midday very light volume, and then at the end of the day volume picks up again. That's basically how a VWAP algorithm, a volume weighted average price algorithm works. It sells more, in this case sells rather than buys, but it sells more at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And I think that's what we kind of saw in biotech. So pretty nasty day there, down 2.7%. And again, if you look at this chart, it failed. Could be, I don't know, maybe a double top. Don't know that for sure. But firmly rejected from breaking out here about a week ago, and another nasty day down. And it seems like that's how biotech seems to go. It Once it changes directions, it goes pretty quickly, especially when there's a buyer or seller in place. So that was the worst performer of the day. A couple other things, for the S&P basically flat. There was some areas of the market that had some damage to it. Steel names again down another 1.2%. That's the SLX ETF. Material stocks were also down, almost down 1%. Agriculture stocks, that's the MU ETF, down a little bit less than 1%. Healthcare also down 60 basis points. And then on the upside, JD.com reported, but the China internet names continue to break out. This is the China Internet ETF KWEB, new 52-week high. So the star performer was JD.com. Real nice earnings. We sure have seen a lot of call buying in JD months back. So they were right in that one. BABA was kind of flat for the day. Didn't do too much. Actually, was up 70 basis points. It kind of just closed where it opened. But structured a small trade in this one as well to try to play the theme up and to the right until they report earnings, which is about a week and a half away. Other names that look pretty good. this WUBA, WUBA, since it broke the 200-day moving average. It's just been going up. So that was up 1.8%. Also WB, which is Weibo, another one that is breaking out. So, want to go where the strength is in this market, and it's definitely been this China internet group. A couple other areas just reverted back a little bit. Telecom names, which were really under pressure last week, have been coming back. You could see some big red candles. This is the IYZ ETF. Also, energy names, they were up a little bit today. I would say a relief rally. XOP was up. It is running right into resistance, which is the bottom value. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But it looks like it reclaimed some of the pain from last week, but rallied right into resistance. What else? And then everything else was about up or down 0.5%. In terms of option activity, it was pretty light. There were a couple trades in here, most of which the names, there was a little bit of Amazon calls, a little bit of Google calls. Really, the story of the day was Apple. Apple, a lot of people talking about the market cap now of Apple, but just huge day, and we basically saw a steady stream of Apple calls from the beginning of the day throughout. So just a lot of volume, all kinds of calls went up. There was a little bit of puts too, but a lot of calls. You see a lot of calls that were swept. So that kind of trickled through all different types of call orders. If we kind of look at the biggest trades of the day in Apple. It was a lot of Mays. There was also some Junes that went up, a couple different other expirations. But man, what a huge day! Up $4, up 2.7%. So some of these names, just take a look at this. It's been Apple reported about a week ago. Yeah, what was it, last Tuesday? So some of these names, it takes a few days for them to kind of wake up, especially if they've had a good run into earnings. Facebook reported last week as well. Don't take your eyes off Facebook. It did get very overbought going into earnings, and then also Google, which is still really really overbought. That the RSI is in 85. I was actually hoping Amazon would come in a little bit further. We didn't get that. It was bid up pre-market. I was hoping that it would come in one more day. So I put on a small trade today in Amazon. I put on the June 950 970 call spread for 540. It's marking already at 625. So I actually waited to midday for this because I didn't like the fact that it was up about $5-6, I think. It was right here. So I actually put this trade on somewhere in here today, and it actually finished on the close. There was some news out right at the end of the day, which kind of gave it a little bit of boost that Echo will be they're rolling out a product with Echo that will have a video screen as well. So, and I think that product will be out shortly. So that gave it a boost here at the end of the day. So a couple other names, we saw some pretty far out of the money calls go up in KHC Craft. There's always with these consumer staples names, it seems like there is always some rumors about either somebody taking a big stake or somebody or some buyout rumors, but there were 6,000 of those. There was also some calls that went up in Kellogg as well in the beginning of the day. So Kellogg also had a nice day today. So this follows from last Friday, where Thursday and Friday, where all these packaged good names really took a nosedive down, but maybe they got a little bit too cheap. There was the SON conference as well today. We saw some CTL calls go up right before one of the companies announced that they were taking a stake in the company. So some of that kind of stuff going around as well. But overall, pretty light activity in options, and as well really tight range in the indices. So I would imagine could be tomorrow that we get out of that the indices get out of range a little bit. Could be Wednesday. We'll see. The VIX continues to get smashed. Where did the VIX close today? At 977. So, the other thing is, you want to take advantage of when things get really cheap. You could definitely put some protection on for much cheaper than you could have previously with the VIX down at 977. So. That's it for today. That's the end of today's video, and I'll see you guys back in the Tribeca Trade Room bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll go over some names to watch to trade tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.